Happy Monday, everyone. Oh, welcome to the Women's Leadership Forum Live. And I'm glad that it's Monday, and I'm glad that the sun woo, is peeking its way through. I'm waiting for that warm weather to come on through here. Now, I have to be careful what I wish for, because here in Maryland, it can get hot. It can get, and I'm saying it just like it gets hot. I'm just glad that it's not raining, although it's Wednesday, it'll call for some rain. But I welcome all of you here to this platform. I'm excited about today because we're going to talk about something that I often have a little bit or a lot of it of trouble with, and that's balance. So we're going to talk about its definition, what it means, what does it mean today in today's environment. And you know our guest, if you've been to any of the Women's Leadership Forum, you know who she is. If you've followed us, you would know who she is. And I'm not going to introduce her right now because I've got a couple things that I want to take care of. So first, let me introduce myself. I'm Colette Coakley. I'm the Vice President of Human Resources for Maryland Public Television, and I'm the founder of the Women's Leadership Forum. Now, some of you have asked me, like, what is that? Is it a club? Is it a gang? What is it? It is a group of women who just encourage one another. We want to see women get to the next level. And using the resources that we provide, the information that we provide, they're able to take it, synthesize it, and use it so that they can move forward. They can move forward. We want to bring to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on this platform here. We want to bring to you information that you can use to make your home better, to make your life better, to make your communities, and hopefully to make your jobs easier. Okay, I don't know exactly what that means, but we're gonna give you information that you can use. Now, it's up to you to decide whether Monday is your spot, Wednesday's your spot, or Friday's your spot. Now, Monday is like motivation. We're trying to give you all the encouragement that you need to make it through the week. And then on Wednesday, we talk about careers and workforce and jobs and training and leadership skills. And then on Friday, we have a little fun. Okay, I bring my family, I bring friends, I bring, your neighbor, I bring people who will give you information so that you can make some decisions. Now, I see my good friend, Angela Marshall, in our crowd today. And Angela is coming to us on Wednesday. You know what? I can't wait because usually there's just two of us on the screen, but we're bringing a special guest, both Angela and myself. We are going to bring somebody who will talk more about leadership. They're a leadership expert and they're a coach. And so, again, our aim here is to make sure that you have enough information that you feel informed to make decisions in your life that move you forward. Now, today, I want to talk about a young lady who was at the forum, and she's 17 years old, and she's already an entrepreneur. Now, there's a story behind that, but I don't want to ruin the story because she may be my guest one day and it makes for a good story. But I do want to promote her. She thanked me for having her as a guest at the forum, as a vendor at the forum. And so I'm giving her a complete shout out because I got some Okay, wait a minute. I'm taking it all in because these are, the best. Wow, these are the scents on here. Ericka, if I could just tell you about,
Let me
look,
smell.
it's smell-o-vision. Ooh, the scents on these soaps that she creates, and they're natural soaps. There's nothing in here. You know how that commercial said, if you can't pronounce it, then you shouldn't be, you might not want to eat it. But I'm not going to eat the soap, but I am going to tell you these soaps, coconut, olive, palm, soybean, castor oils. Now you know what castor oils is. So for those people, ashy, but the black cherry bomb fragrance, and I can smell it. Oh Lord, I want to just say shout out to Serena Scents. That's the name of the business. And the owner is Raquel James. She is a young entrepreneur. You can find her on the internet, through the internet and Instagram. Her email address. Now, I feel free in giving this because this is her business email address. It's Serena Scents 2019 at gmail.com. Serena Scents. Scents as in smell. Wonderful. Papaya. This one is papaya. Okay. This one's papaya too. And this is the signature bar. So if you want something that is natural and it smells good all in the same, then you may want to visit Serena Scent's website or drop her a line and order. Now, I love supporting young people. So that's why I'm spending the time on this, because she is 17 and she has started her own business. So congratulations on your business, Miss Serena Scents. And congratulations, owner Raquel James. We appreciate you. We want to have you back. And I hope to see you soon. And thank you. Now, what are we talking about here today? Lord have mercy. Balance. Balance. Now, you talk about something rocking the boat, COVID.
Yes.
Mask, social distancing, your job, working from home. Everything seems out of balance. But did we ever have balance? Let's think about that. Did we ever really have balance? Okay, without further ado, let me welcome Miss Ericka Sallee of TruSynergy to this platform. She's been here once. She's been on everything else twice, 3 times. You know that we are friends. So I'm happy to have my friend Ericka Sallee back on this platform, the Women's Leadership Forum platform. Welcome, Ericka.
Thank you, Miss Colette. I appreciate you, and I'm so excited to be here. First of all, I just want to give it up to our young entrepreneur, Raquel. So thank you for spotlighting her, because I'm trying to get close and so I could get a little sniff, a virtual sniff. So I definitely want to support her. I'm excited to talk about this thing called balance.
Yeah. So let me just say a couple words about you for those who may be new to meeting you. That you're an experienced coach. You're a transformation success coach. Okay. You're a speaker, author, and you help with professional development programs. And so for those of you who have not experienced Ericka, I encourage you to visit her website, and she's going to tell us about where that's located later. But visit her website and experience her, because I'm telling you, she will get you to think Like she's going to get us to think in a few minutes about this whole balance thing. So she'll get you to think about yourself, about your surroundings and what you're doing in the workplace and in your life. So again, welcome, Ericka. So let's talk about this whole balance thing.
Let's talk about it.
Now we talked about it just a few minutes before we came on the program here.
Mhm.
And is there now balance? When we talk about balance, you think about the scales, okay? And when we say balance, things are equal.
Mhm.
So when we talk about things in our life, are they really equal?
Mhm. So listen, I want to say this. I want the audience to get this in their head that balance only exists in certain places. We kind of talked about a little bit before we got on tonight. So when you think about, if you were an architect, right, and you have to build or design a building, and then someone has to go and build your design. Well, you don't want a building that's going to be crooked unless you're the Leaning Tower of Pisa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in certain respects, yes, balance does exist.
Mm-hmm.
However, when we think about it in our everyday life, balance doesn't exist. And oftentimes we hear people say, "Oh, I'm trying to find balance," or "I need work life balance." Oh my gosh. And then we get frustrated
Mm-hmm.
because the reality of it is, if you think about spending 8 hours at work,
Mm-hmm.
just say, just a general schedule. Well, you spend 8 hours at work, then you come home, and maybe you spend 2 to 3 hours with your children. Maybe you take a 20-minute shower. So you already see that balance in terms of time doesn't exist because your time is not allocated equally to all the things that we have to do on our plate. And so, in transforming our mind around that, is making a shift to say, oh, wait, okay, so if balance doesn't exist, then why am I trying to chase it? And as I'm chasing
Mm.
it, I get
Right, right,
frustrated
right.
because I find it, right? So, I like to try to help people understand, okay, let me try to find harmony, which was actually instilled in me from one of my coaches, that harmony is whatever hour that you spend in whatever capacity, find the peace and the fulfillment in that space so that you're not looking for something else and trying to equate all things together because it's just not going to add up.
Right, right. So I went to a training seminar, and the lady said there is no such thing.
Mm-hmm.
She said years ago, we were in the era of like the TV tray. Remember those TV trays, those that you would heat up,
Yeah, little TV.
and, and there was it's the okay. Shout out to Swanson, but you had the chicken, the
And the,
peas,
yeah,
and mashed potatoes, right?
yeah.
Lord help those mashed potatoes, but you had the chicken, the peas, and the mashed potatoes,
Uh-huh.
and they were all kind of carved out, and that's she said was what we thought about life. We had everything carved out. You would exactly go to work. It would be 9 to 5. Then you would come home,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you would have a meal, and everybody sat down at the meal, and you spent time there. And then you spent time sleeping, only
Mm-hmm.
to get up to go back to work,
But all over again.
do it all over again, right? But then the world turned, and
Mm-hmm.
everything, the mashed potatoes got on the gravy, and the gravy got on the peas, and then you threw in there COVID and work from home,
Yeah.
and then it's like all messed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think part of it is, there is a correlation between this notion of balance, and I'm going to continue to use quotes because what I just said, but and then our norm. Like we're in a rhythm, and when something comes in to kind of throw us off that rhythm, then that's when we go to, oh my gosh, I need to get my balance back. But to your
Right.
point, we didn't have it before COVID. So it's really just an adjustment of a new way of doing things, a new way of finding that harmony, because now we're in unprecedented times and we have to readjust to what that needs to look like for us going forward. Forward.
Forward. So, finding that harmony. What is how do you do that? How do you find that? Because I think, for me, I think I said this to you before. I want to shut off when I want to shut off.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And it's not to everybody's liking. That when I decide I want to shut off is when I want to shut off.
mm-hmm,
It's not to everybody's liking. And I'm sometimes okay with that for the most part. But I'm not saying that I do that with regularity. I
mm-hmm.
don't have it baked into to my day. I don't have it. I'm probably the one who says, "Oh, yeah, I did forget to eat my lunch," or I'm just going to snack my way through until I get to dinner.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, how do you find that?
Well, I think the first thing is recognizing two things. Recognizing that you need to find it, right?
Mm,
Just acknowledging that. Like there is, I mean, you can do this, but I wouldn't recommend it. We should not get up in the morning and go through the day and go all the way to dinner and not find that harmony. So whether that is so acknowledging, okay, I need to do it. I have to find that time. And then secondly, recognizing your own patterns. Like you just said, I'm probably the one who doesn't stop to do X, which
mhm.
says to me that you recognize you probably are the one who should do it, right? Yep, I'm calling you out. So it's recognizing your own patterns
Yeah.
and figuring out, if this is my pattern, then where do I need to break it up so that I can interject this thing called harmony. And when I say it this way, I mean that time for you, or the time where you have to step away from, okay, I've been doing this for 5 hours, and maybe this is the time to stop. And really, 5 hours is too long. As opposed to pushing through to say, okay, let me just keep going, going, going. So I think we all should say to ourselves, I need to find that moment. And I need to make sure that I am intentional about incorporating that into my everyday. And I think this conversation is probably moving, from a place of, oh, this is also that self-care piece that I know we often refer to. And I think there is a direct correlation between taking care of myself and establishing harmony, and even recognizing that if I already know that balance doesn't exist, let me just own that and then move forward to create what it needs to look like for me. Because yours is going to look different from mine, and mine
Mhm.
from the next person. But it's really understanding your patterns so that you know where to interject some different types of behaviors. Is my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree with you because as I was reading some survey results, um, what people are finding it difficult to do is to stop working.
Mm-hmm.
It's to stop. I think if there's debate about work from home or teleworking,
Mm-hmm.
right, is that people are seeing that they work longer hours.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it is, well, my question is whether that's like required or self imposed, right?
Yeah.
But I think that they find it difficult to stop and be intentional about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Where at work, you knew that, and sometimes look forward to 12 o'clock. Wait, it's coming. That means let me at least take my lunch out the refrigerator. I at least take my, let me get my, because it needs to be room temperature, because you knew that that time was
Uh-huh.
coming. And
Mm-hmm.
so from at least from 12 to about 1:30, right? 1 or 2,
Mm-hmm.
2, you knew that that was space carved out for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we put our head down
Yeah.
sometimes when we're at home,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or we use that time. Now, this is what I'll be guilty of, is like, oh, wait, I can put a load of clothes in there, or I can fold up some clothes. That'll be my break. And
Mm-hmm.
then I won't have to do this at another time. Well, if I fold up clothes now and I reserve, I end up replacing it with something else to do. So it's not that I've really taken a break. I
Yeah.
haven't taken a break. I've just I've continued working in a different way.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you bring up a good point. I've had multiple conversations with people as well that during this COVID season, while we are remote, um, people are finding it hard to create the boundaries and working longer. And the question then goes to, well, why are we working longer? Is it, as we talked about, is it a self-imposed requirement because
Mm,
there's so many things that have to be done, and oh my goodness, and I think part of it is really changing our mindset. Like, I truly want to change the narrative around that, because it's not okay to just let everything run together. And I know it's easy to do that, but part of that harmony is bringing it back to sanity for us. So we absolutely positively should be intentional. I'll probably say that multiple times in this conversation about getting up to step away. A lot of times I will go to my front door, open the door, and just stand there and look at some trees, look at the sky for a minute, just because it disconnects me from
mm.
feeling like I've got to have this long extended period of time of working. And I stop at whatever time, and then, oh, there's dinner, there's laundry. So we have to understand that that should not be the norm. And I want to say it again, so anybody who's watching now or who will see the replay, it should not be the norm. And if it is your norm, then let's think about how to shift that, because it is imperative that we learn to do it, and it's going to take some time.
Mhm.
But if we've been doing it for such a really long time, we're not going to change it overnight. But I think this is a good time to think about how to change it so that we bring some, again, harmony, recognizing that where I am, I have to be at peace in that space, even if that means I've got to carve that out for myself, that has nothing to do with work and nothing to do with the laundry and dinner.
So, I think a lot of women suffer from this more often than not, because we are genuinely multitaskers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and some of the science behind it says nobody is really good at multitasking, right? But we continue to do it, and we feel obligated to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So what some of the bosses don't know is that sometimes dinner is made while we're looking at the spreadsheet. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at a spreadsheet and cooking dinner at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and um, we burn out faster
Yeah. Yeah.
as a result. And
Mm-hmm.
so there is no real balance created because we're constantly juggling.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about the juggler,
Yeah.
unless he's on, some Ed Sullivan show, she's really not balancing, but actually juggling all the things that are all the things that sometimes we think that we have to do,
Mm-hmm.
that that we think that we have to do or accomplish,
Mm-hmm.
because it's no longer, okay, when I get home at 5, then I cook. It's, oh, wait, I can put this on
Mm-hmm.
and check on it at noon,
Uh-huh.
and it'll be done by 5 o'clock
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
while I'm doing my job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, I know I've been guilty of it, which is why I I like having this conversation because now I'm more present to it. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I move in a direction, I'm like, okay, let me just, and I have to stop sometime and say, no, you have to put this down because
Mm-hmm.
now you're getting ready to like mix everything together, and we have to understand the separation point and
Mm-hmm.
begin to create what that looks like. Some of it is creating not just boundaries that we understand, but boundaries that we help other people to understand. Like, okay, I can do it here, but I might have to come back to something else. You know, we have to teach people how to interact with us when we start creating those boundaries and harmony for ourselves. And that is a challenge.
So I just want to read something that was in the chat, and it was written by Bettina Straight, who's another friend coach
Yeah.
of ours. And she says, "Thank you for this insight, my friends. It's so needed in this do it all world that we're living in." Right?
Yes.
Right?
Do it all.
And thank you, Bettina, for that, because certainly I think expectations sometimes, whether they're
Mm-hmm.
created by ourselves or they're real, are sometimes out of line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things we talked about too is that you raised a great question like, okay, how does this even start? Like, do you think that it's created for us or do we create it on our own? And I do think that in organizations in general, we have this tendency, it's almost like a passive aggressive way of creating this notion of working to exhaustion. I just posted
Mm,
an article on LinkedIn about this whole conversation. And so we adopt that practice of, oh, okay, we had to do it for this project this time, so that means we've got to continue doing it. And then you're building this constant behavior that then is hard to shake. So on the one hand, we're taught how to create this environment where we're always moving, always doing, we've got to put in the extra. And then on the other hand, we create it for ourselves. And then we go back to, oh my gosh, I can't find balance because I'm working and they're asking me to do this and I gotta, and we're constantly trying to find something that does not exist. So we're going on an Easter egg hunt and ain't no eggs been hidden.
ain't
So
no eggs, no eggs.
yeah.
So let me ask you, as we're rounding up here, I want
Sure.
to ask you two things. One is, as an employee,
Mm-hmm.
what can I say to my boss that's like, I can't balance this. I'm not getting a break. What how can I approach my boss
Mm-hmm.
to say I'm not that I'm not performing, but I don't have balance
Mm-hmm.
and I need it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second question is, as leaders, what are some of the signs, some of maybe the telltale signs that an employee is, you know, perhaps working well beyond what my expectations are, um, and doesn't necessarily need to? Uh, to the point of burnout?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of those signs?
Those are great questions. So the first answer to the answer to your first question, as an employee, what can I do? I think you said it spot on, is to reach out to your manager, your director, your supervisor, and say, I need to talk with you about my time. And really bringing some illustrations, keep track of what you're doing so that you can see, okay, when I come to you, I'm not just arbitrarily saying something. I have some data to support. Here is where I'm spending most of my time, but here are some of the other things that I'm being asked to do. And because of this, I'm being pulled here and asked to do some different things. Can you help me to identify what should be my priority and how we can align things so that I am dedicating myself to the right things and really doing it in an efficient and productive way? So first
Yeah.
is having that conversation, because sometimes we take on the stuff and we don't use our voices as the outlet. And sometimes if we don't say anything, they don't know. Okay, so second part of your
And,
question.
and let me just chime in here. If you think that your boss is going to come forward and say, "Don't work," okay, that's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes your boss is in the same position
Mm-hmm.
as you are. And so they might not recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
The data doesn't lie,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're coming forward with data or illustrations or your workload, have it in hand, because if your boss is in the throes of something, they may have blinders on to
Mm-hmm.
what it is that you are doing and or experiencing.
Absolutely.
Should they? Maybe not,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not. But you have a voice,
Mm-hmm.
and just like Ericka said, and you should use it. You should use it. Just be equipped
Yes.
with that information that allows you to show and illustrate what it is that you are going through, so that perhaps your boss ends up having empathy for what it is that you're doing and saying.
Yeah, it's a much different conversation to say, I'm overworked. And then, or to say, I'm overworked and here's why. And you can demonstrate. The second part of your question um, is, what are some of the signs that a manager or leader can look for?
Mhm.
Well, there's a couple things. Pay attention to the dialogue that's happening when you're in meetings. And you hear people say, "Oh my goodness, I was on until 9 o'clock, or I had to jump back on at midnight." And that should be a sign to say, "Ooh, I need to evaluate that," as opposed to just kind of laughing it off, saying, "Oh my goodness, and you're a great worker." That's one. Number two, if you are seeing that people are sending out emails and the timestamp on those emails is 11 p.m. or some crazy, time where you should be resting to renew yourself for the next day, that's when you probably want to make sure that you tune into that and address that one on one. The other piece of that, too, is to be sure to have one on ones on a regular basis with your staff. Because you
Absolutely.
can ask some questions. How are you feeling about the workload? Is there anything that you're concerned with? Do you need support in any area? And that's the opportunity for the employee to use his or her voice to express what those concerns are. And it is then the manager or leader's responsibility to align things so that you feel supported and address those issues.
Yeah, and we need to listen. We need to listen. It is extremely important. Listening is an art,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and it's something that hard you have to work hard at, because we're so quick to have these knee jerk reactions. Today, one of my employees said, I'm better when I work at 11 o'clock at night. And I'm better because guess what? My children are in bed. And they're
mm-hmm,
not running across the room or asking me for my assistance. So here's what I'm grateful for: flexible hours.
mm-hmm.
I just want to have the opportunity for flexible hours. And if that's how they're getting their 8 hours in, or if that creates balance for them, right?
I must say, use the word harmony.
Harmony. If that creates harmony
But
in
you
their,
bring up a good point, because, and I thank you for saying that, because it's not a one size fits
yeah,
all um, formula. And I think too that goes back to the when you have one-on-ones with your employees and you understand what their needs are, then you can shape and mold how their workload looks, and also the communication to the rest of the team as to how that could impact what everybody else does. There's a whole lot in that, but um,
yeah.
mhm.
Because my person was sending, they'll send an email at 11 o'clock. And I'm like, wait, is she expecting an answer?
Yeah.
One of my eyes is closed at that time.
Right,
So
right.
I'm not sure how I'm going to give her an answer at 11 o'clock, or nor do I want to, because that might start a conversation for
Uh-huh.
which I end up sitting up. And then guess who doesn't have harmony then?
Exactly.
Me or Mr. Coakley. Okay.
Right.
So, yes, having that conversation and having that understanding about, you know, your employees is showing great leadership
Mm-hmm.
on your behalf as a leader, as a supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
and then trying to come up with a solution,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And here's a shout out to the HR departments. Go to the HR department. Before you say no,
Yes.
right? No,
Yeah.
you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Go to your HR department and ask them, what is the flexibility in policy or procedure, or am I able to do X, Y, and Z that
Yeah.
I'm thinking of? And sometimes your HR department can come up with some creative solutions
Yes. Yes.
to the problem at hand. And yes, I'm going to shout out the HR department because that's where I happen to be vice president.
That's right.
Uh,
But I think part of that too is that we look at the traditional way of working. It's a traditional 8 hours where everybody has to be in by a certain time and everybody clocks out. So it does require it should require, it should cause us to be more creative,
Absolutely.
especially now when there's so much going on and people's needs have changed. So it's no longer just about managing the family and the kids. It's managing COVID. It's managing the impact of the social conscious conversations that we're having. So all of those things impact how we do work, when we do it, and how well we do it.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And in the comments we have Monique here today, and she says the individual expectation is beyond challenging these days.
Yes.
And we should make it a win. We should make it a win-win,
Yeah.
right? Team members must meet management in the middle. Okay, you know what? And I know we can go. Whoo!
I,
Wait, she just said a boatload there
I know.
because sometimes I think the employees have strong opinions. I'm just trying to find the right word. They
Mm-hmm.
have strong opinions, and it must be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And what they forget sometimes is that there is business does go on,
Mm-hmm.
and management is trying to make money,
Mm-hmm.
and they are trying to keep the employees because they can't do it without them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's not management. It's not our responsibility to tell them, yeah, we can do without you and we can replace you right away.
Mm-hmm.
It is to find that win-win.
Yeah.
It is to find believe it or not, the harmony
Mm-hmm.
that allows for business to go on, allows for you to get back up the next day and to come back to work, to want to come back to work. And where we try to make it such that it doesn't seem like a job,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like a job. It's
Yeah,
not always easy.
it's
It's
not. And
not
I
always
agree
easy.
with Monique in saying team members must meet management in the middle. And I would also add that management has to be willing to meet them in the middle.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So it is for a win-win to be effective. It is both parties have to come together and walk away with something that feels good to both of them in order to meet a common goal. So there's as I'm thinking about the conversation and just kind of the direction we've moved in, it's so funny because harmony goes in so many different levels, right? And I think the minute we decouple that notion of, wait a minute, I have to have balance, we kind of see it shows up in our workspace with our teams, with our spouses, because you mentioned Carrie, and everything in our home life. And so it is a clear demonstration that harmony is in all facets of our lives. We just have to understand that if I no longer look at it as trying to find balance, then it's easier and more palatable for me to say, okay, so wherever my time is, let me figure out what feels good in that space, whether it's personally or professionally, and just understand, okay, my time here might be 8 hours. Okay, let me give my best and know that I'm supported in what I need. If my time with my family is 2 hours, let me devote that time to them. Let me pay attention. Let me be in tune to what my kids are saying, what they're doing, what they need, and put down the stuff over here. Okay, let me find the space. If I've got to fold the clothes, let me find the peace in that and just compartmentalize those things, but understand that they're not going to be equal.
I'm
So,
about to start something, Erica.
woo, started. Come on now. What we got? What we got?
Sometimes harmony, you still hear the word no.
Harmony, you still hear the word no. So tell me what does that
What
expand?
what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes for the greater good,
Mm,
you may come to the boss and you may ask for X,
okay.
but for the greater good, your boss says no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we walk away with an attitude.
Mm-hmm.
We're mad,
Mm-hmm.
but your boss may have a bigger picture
Mm-hmm.
or a reason that goes well beyond what you're expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes your boss has to say no.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be no, but in an instance, it may be no because the harmony may be among the many rather than one.
Mm-hmm. Which is fair. And so here's where I'm going to go back to. Um, there is a way to communicate no in such a way that there is an understanding. Eventually, it might not be initially, but there's one thing to say, no, we just can't do that, rather than no, we can't do that right now, or we won't be able to do that, and here's the reason why, with as much as you can share.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times what we do is we don't give people enough information for clear understanding, or at least as clear as it can be, because some things I know from a management perspective, you can't always divulge all the details and why the no is no. But creating a dialogue that explains to people that they're not just being shut down and shut out, but there is a reason behind it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think people will respect that more than just feeling like they're not being heard, they're not being considered, and no is just no with no real substantial reason as to why.
Mm-hmm.
That eventually, I think, will create harmony because people will live with that more than just feeling like they're being shut down and not heard. Does that make
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. And I guess what I don't want to leave people with, as the sun is like lightening up.
Uh-huh. You looking
I
like
don't know what's happening with all the sun
he
here.
coming from Wakanda. He got you
Yeah,
right.
right. But that sometimes we make demands, and guess what? We always expect the perfect answer for us. We always expect the positive answer. And yes, you should go in with a positive attitude, but sometimes we are not always going to get what it is that we want, and we think that it's being discourteous to us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And yes, it is in the way that a manager may deliver it. And it might even be to a point where you experience
Mm-hmm.
disappointment in the answer. What I'm here to say is that there might not be harmony at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
There might not be harmony at that moment. As the boss is trying to create harmony
Mm-hmm.
in a company, his or her answer to you may have to be no.
Mm-hmm.
So what I don't want people to equate harmony with is an automatic yes.
Yes, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. And so to that point, if in a situation if the answer is no, then it's up to us, me as the person who has heard no, to walk away from the situation knowing what I've heard and make a decision as to whether
Absolutely.
or not how then can I find harmony? Is it I'm okay with the no and I'm just going to let it sit and I'm going to find peace in the moment? Or does that no mean I have to discover what yes looks like for me and the
Hmm.
harmony that goes along with it?
Yes. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. I
that's a
like
good
that.
point, though. I'm glad, yeah, because we don't want people to feel like me finding my harmony means somebody's always going to say yes. Well,
Yeah.
the real harmony is when they say no, then how can I still find where I need to be mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and in the best position for myself? Yeah.
Or you don't want people to go saying to their bosses, Ericka said I need harmony, so you
Don't
need to
don't
say
don't
yes.
cross that. I will deny, and then I'm gonna go
Ooh.
hit the replay so y'all can hear what we really say.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. So, hey, you know what? We have gone well beyond once again,
I know.
Miss Erica. We have gone beyond the time frame, and this is such a rich subject. I want people to know that we are here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and this is what the third Friday in the month. I mean, third Wednesday. What is today?
It's the
Monday.
third
Good
Monday.
Lord.
Yeah.
I'm look, I need some harmony. Woo! Okay. This is the third Monday for us in the month. And you can find Ericka every third Monday here on this Women's Leadership Forum platform. And we're going to have rich discussions like we have here today. We're going to talk about workforce. We're going to talk about your homes and your community. She's got a lineup, if you will, of things that we as women need to discuss. And we want to discuss them in an open forum. We're not trying to hide anything. We're not trying to make up anything. We're talking from experience. We're talking from the point where we have spoken to other women and what other women are saying. And, Ericka has 15, 11 degrees here that she's talking from, the books and the science. Okay. And I'm talking from my heart. So I want you all to know that I'm welcoming Ericka. We're going to see more of Ericka in our lineups going forward. And we want to make sure that you join us. So continue to be with us. Now, Ericka, do you want to leave us with a word or two? One of the words is, where do we find you?
Well, thank you very much. So you can find me in a couple different places. You can go to my website, TruSynergy.org. That's TRUSYNERGY. I am also on Instagram at TruSynergy_. I also invite you to check me out on LinkedIn, and I'm also going to invite you to follow me on Instagram at Citizen Room, because I'm going to be talking more about this notion of self-care, how we change the narrative and how we think about it. So there's two places you can find me on Instagram. And I look forward to hearing from anyone who has questions or, wants to seek out further information about what TruSynergy is up to.
So I appreciate you once again, my sister, my girlfriend,
Yes.
and I welcome more information. Again, you can follow Ericka on all of her social media. Um, I'm just happy that we have this opportunity to talk about balance, harmony. We're going to call it harmony.
Yes.
And I look forward to having further discussion about just womanhood in general and what you have to offer, Ericka, because right now there's a lot of confusion going on.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from uh, George Floyd,
Yes.
police shootings, to
Mhm.
where do you wear your mask. And
Yes.
harmony
Mhm.
today is coming at a price.
Yeah.
It's coming at a price. There's a lot of employer employee angst, confusion. Coming back to work is disrupting um, balance or harmony, right? And so people are really looking for help, answers. I do want to put out there that if your job has a employee assistance program, please take advantage of it. You need to talk to somebody and you can't figure out where to go, please seek out your employee assistance program. If you don't know what that is, go talk to your human resource director. Don't keep all of this stuff that's going on bottled up inside, because we have witnessed what has happened in today's world with folks who have over years, they've kept it up. And we want to do as much prevention as we can. Now, we're not the solution. We're here to hear you out and we're here to listen, but we also will refer you to people who can hear more of your story and empathize with you and help you to find the solutions that you may need to survive in this world today. And
Colette,
with that, yes.
this, and I didn't, I know we're over time and we're closing out. I just wanted to thank you for saying that. I think it's important for people to understand. I also think it's important for us to know that if you need to talk to somebody, it's okay. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes we have a stigma around, no, I can't talk to somebody because that's just not, what I'm used to. That's not what my culture's used to. And we really have to change the narrative around that so that people understand it's absolutely necessary and okay if that's what we need. So thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely. And who thought, as little as 2 years ago, we were going to be wearing masks and trying to match our mask up with our
Oh,
outfits, Monique,
yeah.
and trying to make sure that we were staying socially distant from one another.
Mhm.
Who knew that that was coming down the pike? And it's difficult. So
Mhm.
let's not pretend that we don't need each other, that we don't need a way to cope with what's going on in today's world. There are people out there who are willing to help, who are able to help. And so seek them out. If you need to um, find someone, know that both Ericka and I are here to refer you to appropriate channels that would help you make it in today's world, because we want to see each and every one of you. We love all of you all. We want to see you back here on Wednesday. I got the right day. We want to see you back here on Wednesday. Let me tell you a little bit about Wednesday. Okay. Wednesday. Oh my gosh. We got 3 people in the room. So we gotta make this, either we making the screen larger or something. I don't know. But we're gonna have 3 people in the room. We got Angela Marshall from WWFN, that famous radio station. And we got Carolyn Moselle of Leaders Who Connect and Inspire. I'm telling you, we're gonna have a grand. I hope we don't talk over each other, but I'm promising you a grand time as we talk and discuss leadership in today's world. And then on Friday, Lord, if you didn't see her in at the Women's Leadership Forum, you're going to be in for a treat. Jamise Pinkney, she's going to talk about your business. Now, I'm not talking about your personal business. We're talking about entrepreneurs and even your workplace. She's of High Quest Consulting Solutions. And I'm telling you, she's going to tell it like it is. And she's going to tell you what you need to do. If you're trying to move your business, where, Ericka? If you're trying to move it
Forward.
forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Wednesday and Friday of this week. And as they say, as Buzz Lightyear said, and beyond, to infinity and beyond. So continue to be masked up, stay socially distant, and wash your hands. And we appreciate all of you. See you next time on the Women's Leadership Forum platform. Take care.